Absolutely. That's why loads of teams have done warm weather training, right?
Indeed, they have. And it's worked quite well over the last couple of weeks because we have had fantastic action last weekend. De Bruyne, obviously, the feature of last weekend. And wherever you are in the world, if you don't see him marvel at that brilliant, then maybe you don't like football, I think. And this weekend, we've got some stunning action to come as well. But in between, some clubs have taken the opportunity to kind of warm up to be ready for the business end of the season as well.
Arsenal versus Crystal Palace at the Emirates on Saturday. Let's hear from the managers, Mikel Arteta, then Roy Hodgson.
Well, they provide a massive challenge. I mean, you're not a title contender unless you're an extremely good team with extremely good players. So we know. I mean, I've never taken a team to Arsenal from Blackburn Rovers through West Brom, through Fulham and through Palace. I've never taken a team to Arsenal thinking we'll win this one. This is an easy one for us. It's always been up against it, really, the underdog, which we still are in this match as well. But I thought there was a lot of aspects to our play on Wednesday night which were very satisfying. I thought we carried out a game plan pretty well, and on another occasion I think we'd have even got a result from that game. But that's past. We will have to wave goodbye to the cup run and really concentrate now on getting some points in the league, and that starts tomorrow. But I do think we take a little bit of positivity from the Wednesday evening game into that game tomorrow with us.
Hi Ray, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Arsenal obviously 3 defeats in a row, no wins in 4.
Oh dear.
How important?
Crisis.
How important is it, given the fan atmosphere, it might get a little bit nervy, a little bit expectant of obviously turning that form around? How important is it to start the game well and nullify Arsenal from an early stage?
Yeah, it is. There's no question about that. You know, the question is so well formed that you've almost sort of answered it for me. It is important. I don't really go too much into that. You know, I didn't know they'd lost 3 games in a row.
In all comes.
I didn't know that. I mean, I just look at their team and what they've done and what they're capable of doing, and I look at that thinking, right, how are we going to combat this? How are we going to nullify them, as you rightly say, not just in the first part of the game, we've got to do it through probably 100 minutes. How are we going to do that? What have we got to do? How good have we got to be? Because we know they're good. Why do we know they're good? Well, we watch them play, one, but also they're top of the table. And often teams at the top of the table are better than teams near the bottom of the table. That's a fact of life. There's not much you can do about it. We can't wave a magic wand and swap places with them. But we also believe, personally, when I say we, I personally, and we as a team, I think, believe that we're capable of going there and making life difficult for them, playing a good game. And if we're lucky and we do play that good game, and maybe, as you rightly point out, their form isn't quite what it was a few weeks ago, who knows? You know, the result's there for us to get, and we'll do our best to get it. That's all we can do.
If you start the likes of Bereze, he's obviously a player that you want in front, but how important could he be at the Emirates tomorrow?
Well, he's a goal scorer, that's the good thing. I mean, we see him as one of our goal scorers. Michael's another, Jordan Ayew's a third, and, you know, we're going to be without
to get back yet, but hopefully they are much closer, and some of them are in a better place than we expected.
How is Zinchenko?
Yeah, individually I'm not going to tell you exactly how everybody is, but we are still missing a few.
Okay. Anyone due back? I know Gabriel Jesus had that was it knee problem in the Liverpool game.
We are touch and go with a few. That's what I would say.
Okay. How was the camp? Bit of warm weather and a chance to work on a few things?
It was great. It was a phenomenal camp in every sense. We worked really hard in things that we wanted to do. We recharged our batteries. Obviously, the context, changing the environment in a beautiful weather helps. The togetherness and the moments that we shared together were great. So, we feel fully recharged.
Did the break come at a good time when you're on a run of form like you've been on? A good chance to hit the reset button and turn a corner?
Well, it was. I think it gave us the opportunity as well to look at things with a bit of perspective as well, to analyze what we've been doing. And we take a lot of positives from the first 6 months of the competition. And even though results haven't gone our way in the last few games, when you look at what we have produced in terms of the Premier League with any other team, we are up there
And in terms of improvements for the second half of the season, you're creating opportunities, perhaps not taking them. Is that the focus for you a little bit?
Yes, continue to be who we are. You know, the fits cannot make you lose who you are, because if you do that, then you were never who you said that you were. And we have to continue to be ourselves. But there are certain details, certain marginal gains that we have to improve and evolve. And this is the beautiful thing about my job as well, is constantly find the evolution of a team and what it needs to keep winning.
I mean, you're not finishing in front of goal. To what extent does confidence become an issue?
For sure, that's a big factor. But if you don't produce the number of chances that we have created and expect to that we create more than any other team in the league, for sure we're not going to score enough goals. But I love the players that I have and the way they work and the way they go about it, and that will come for sure.
And how important for you is it that Gabriel Jesus maybe scores a few more in the second half of the season?
Yeah, but for everybody, you know, we have to share goals. We are responsible for everything, you know. And on set pieces, the goalkeeper is responsible, the striker is responsible. When there is a throw-in, everybody is responsible to what's going to happen that throw-in, and we have to share that responsibility, like we always done.
After the Liverpool game, you said the chances of bringing in a striker in this transfer window, well, it wasn't a realistic option. Have you changed that opinion, or do you feel the same?
No, but the first thing, because I love the players that we have.
And Crystal Palace, under Roy Hodgson, he never makes it easy for teams to get by. What are you expecting from Palace, and how much respect do you have for Roy Hodgson?
A massive respect, a big admiration for the way he's conducting himself, especially, and the trajectory that he's had. His teams are extremely well organized. They are really hard to beat. He's really good at provoking things that he wants in the game. And tomorrow is going to be a big battle for us, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Alex on the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You said the break gave you some perspective. What is the message to your players going into the second half?
Keep doing what we are doing, and small margins to improve. That's it.
Roy Hodgson in the opposition dugout, 76 years old. Can you see yourself managing at 76?
You always ask me that question. At the moment, I cannot see that happening, but you never know. This job is extremely addictive, and when you do it like I do with people that I love as well and respect so much, you never know. It's difficult to find a better place or a better thing to do in your life.
What do you think the key is to lasting that long as a manager? In
the passion for and the love for the game, that's for sure. And then enjoying and the company and the people you work with, and then being very good at dealing with defeat, for sure. Because all the matches at the end, we lose more than we win, and I think you have to be really good at that.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't actually think in terms of the attack is that bad. I think in terms of creating chances, they're still creating similar chances they did last season. I think the clinicalness in front of goal, I think obviously they've lacked that. If you compare last season, the front four, if you like, compared to this season's stats, they're way off. But in terms of creating chances, I think it's pretty similar. But you know, I think no one expects, when Jesus signed, nobody expected him to be an out-and-out number 9 that scores you lots of goals. They've obviously lost players, bringing players in, that whole adaptation. For me, though, Arteta, he's a reactive manager. I think, you know, he's got a bench full of players that he could use. He could use rotation if needed. But I feel like he's a manager when the game is running away from them a little bit, he waits for it to run away before he then reacts with a substitution to try and change. Sometimes I feel, I watch Arsenal and I think, when are you going to make a change? Something needs to change in this game. When are you going to do it? And
does that happen? When that happens, when you're a player on the pitch, what does that do? Because are you waiting for a manager to make a decision that affects the game?
For
particularly
sure.
when you're a senior player as well.
I used to be a player that kind of would see in game. I felt that was one of my strengths as a player, to kind of read the game and read it, you know, whether it, as I say, it's running away from you in a certain area or you're under a little bit more pressure. And I'd be like, come on, we need to change something. You know, because you push and players push and then they get frustrated. And I think you can see that with Arsenal. When they start to get frustrated because what they're doing isn't working, they start to finger point and start to blame each other because they want a solution. Because they're playing well and they're wondering why with this great performance, because they're not underperforming. No. Their performances are really good without the results. The last couple of results haven't been their way, but it is difficult, and you do wait for the manager to make a change, freshen something up, bring a little spark, because substitutes are there to do that. They're there to impact games. That's why they're there. The squad is there to be used, and I feel like he's very reactive in terms of what he does with his team, and he's got some great names that are sat on that bench that could at times make a difference. And I look at that, Nelson, he's I feel like he lacks confidence when he gets the opportunity to start. So when he gets an opportunity to start, he's very negative in his play. He's got bags of talent.
Is he fighting to do something wrong precisely because of what
because he doesn't get a run of games, does he? And it's the same with Nketiah. When they get in, it's like he knows it's just maybe a 1 or 2 game run before then he's back out and they change it back to revert to type. So it's quite difficult to get that consistency and that confidence in yourself when you know maybe this is the only opportunity I'm going to get.
But do you still feel, Darren, that they are missing a big-name, ruthless goal scorer?
I do.
And what can you tell us about these Benzema rumours? I mean, it's a silly season, so you don't really know what to believe.
This is Planet Football. Every season is silly football season. Benzema, no, I don't think so. I mean, Benzema's wages are astronomical. Even higher than yours.
Takes some doing.
But I think as far as Arsenal are concerned, the numbers are the problem. Bukayo Saka is their highest scorer this season, 6 goals. You have to go back to the 1990 season where 4 players were on 5 goals for the last time after 20 goals the top scorer had so few goals. And that's the reason why there is so much talk, not just in England, but around, over whether Arsenal are going to do something about it. Are they going to go for an Ivan Toney type? Toney's numbers are fantastic for Brentford, 32 goals in 66 games. He's a predator. He's a Johnny on the spot. He's strong in the year, and he maximises the many chances Arsenal create. Now, when I say about the many chances, I'll be specific. The last 3 games, 61 chances they've created. They've scored 1 goal. That's their problem. Defensively, they're actually okay, but in that final third, they don't have a killer, a sporting killer. And that is the problem in the race for the title, because in tight games, Liverpool can find a way to win. City can find a way to win. Spurs have had a nightmare so far this season, and yet they can find a way to win there, and Arsenal can't.
But just on that, because when I get asked that question, do they need a number 9? Well, it's obvious they do. They need an out-and-out goal scorer. But my thing goes back to the type of coaching, the style of play that Arsenal have. Arteta's stubbornness to make any sort of change and play with the out-and-out striker. It's very difficult then. He'll have to change his whole tactics, the whole style of play at Arsenal, if they are to go with an out-and-out 9. And I'm not sure he's the type of manager that will change. You heard him say there in the interview, we've got the players, we're sticking with these, and, we know what we're good at type thing. So I don't...
Do you often hear your manager... I think as far as... Look, they're falling behind in the title race. Liverpool and Arsenal and City are dominating it. Liverpool are the only side that stopped City winning it before. And when you look at their firepower up front, if they can't break through with Nunes, they've got Gakpo. If they haven't got Gakpo, they've got Diaz. If they can't do it with Diaz, they've got Salah. If none of them can do it, then they've got Harvey Elliott. But they have guys who know how to score the goals that break teams down. Martinelli scored 2 goals this season in the Premier League. I just think, and Gabriel Jesus, he's a fantastic leader, and he's an organiser, he can bring players into the play, but he's still in single figures. He's got fewer than Saka, so that's the problem. And as you say, can he change? Well, he's going to have to change if they want to win the title, because at the moment, they're falling behind the 2 most consistent sides of the last 15 years.
And I think just immediately, if they want to get back to winning ways, because Crystal Palace are on a high, I suppose. They won their last game. It ended a run of 8. It was their first win in 9 games. 8 games without a win. So 3-1, the score then. They knew how to score goals in that game.
That is famous last words. Don't be going there. Don't get drawn in. She does this.
I was setting it up.
She sets us up. And then 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, she texts you and says, you were wrong about that.
Well, I'm just thinking against Crystal Palace, if Arsenal have that kind of performance and Crystal Palace are on the up, they've got to win. They scored 3 goals the last time out against Brentford. What do you reckon about Palace?
I think it's difficult for Palace. I think a Roy Hodgson team will always, try and make it difficult for opposition. There'll probably be the similar sort of chances Arsenal are going to create. Crystal Palace will have to defend for their lives and make good blocks and be compact and defensively. I think for Palace, they put a lot of pressure on Eze to perform and to make things happen. And I think, for somebody so young, I think he takes that responsibility on really, really well, tries to make things happen. I think, especially when the game, you grab it by the scruff of the neck. Elise's been out. I think he might be injured. he's another player that you know they heavily rely on.
Yeah.
And without those two players, I don't really see much else. I think Hughes in the middle with Lamar, I think they'd be brilliant. I think Hughes has certainly progressed and matured as a midfielder. I think he's done really well of late. But yeah, I think it will be difficult for Palace to go away to Arsenal and get anything from the game. And certainly, as I said, if Elise is out injured, this man here, Eze, is going to be the guy that they look to make something happen.
Yeah, without